I think it's safe to say that people don't exactly trust the news these days, and rightfully so. Now, just to give you guys a little background on me, I am a former video editor for a major news station with a distribution of about 7 million people. I saw how things worked, and quite frankly, I couldn't stand being involved in such a fabricated and sensationalized system. I left the business, and I haven't been involved in it since 2013. The other day I saw a story where a visual effects demo got mistaken for being real, and it was reminiscent of a story I had to cover while working the news, and I figured I'd come on here and explain how something like that could happen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, oh, well, that's just because they're stupid. Well, I'm not denying that they're stupid, because I've certainly met my fair share of people like that in the news business, but I'd say it's more the structure that's put in place as to why that happens. You see, news stations are part of a network of video providers. The content is produced by a local station and then distributed from station to station through an on-demand service. It could be the Associated Press, CNN, or even the network affiliate's parent station's own service. So if a station in, say, Texas wants to cover a story from Philadelphia, they would go to their on-demand service, request the video to be brought into the local station. They'd receive the finished video and the script that goes along with it. These stories are all verified to some degree in that it's from another station's report. This explains how a video that is a hoax would be quickly distributed all the way across the world. The reporter is essentially a glorified gossiper when they blindly read the script provided, repeating the same shit that they heard, changing tiny words, if any. They assume it being from another network who checked it out that their facts are 100% valid. So then you'd probably be wondering, well, how the fuck did that clip get onto the on-demand service to begin with? Well, that's simple. You see, in this case, when a video gets a lot of attention, there is certainly a lot of pressure to also be talking about it. Clearly, if it went viral, there's something appealing about it, and they feel that their audience will enjoy it. Which really is all it's about. It's the entertainment business now, but I digress. So, with there always being pressure to get the information out there first, producers and writers don't double-check, or quite frankly, check at all, information and will either willfully or inadvertently fill in little details that make the story seem more believable. That is, of course, assuming they change it at all. Most of the time, they just change what the station name they're referring to is. It could be like WBZK-LGK46439er. It could turn into a local news affiliate. Such a contribution, huh? So, let me take you through a few examples, and I'll say how it probably happened. Okay, so let's start with the video that piqued my interest. This is by a person on YouTube who says he just learned After Effects, which is a video editing program designed for visual effects. He made this video as a test and placed it on his YouTube channel, labeling it in a way that it wasn't clear whether it was fake or real, but the reporter never even attempted to contact him to see what it actually was. They took the video and played it on the air as though it were true.
And Canberra scientists say strange lights that appeared over Canberra during a recent storm were most likely not aliens. Instead, it's probably a rare phenomenon known as ball lightning.
Has gotten social media users in an uproar, declaring that the baffling flare as evidence of a possible UFO or alien portal.
His video went viral, and he said that he had no idea what had actually reported on the news. In a follow-up video he did showing how he did everything. I find it amusing that in the retraction of the news said, but the uploader Johnson Thompson appears to have had a change of heart after the clip unexpectedly went viral, garnering more than 300,000 views on YouTube and extensive media coverage. Which is total bullshit. They're just all pissy because they're idiots and believed it to be true. Saying change of heart implies that he intended to fool people, which to me doesn't seem likely based on the facts that I have. You could say, well, they might have messaged him and he didn't see it, or he's just making up that he didn't see it. Well, I messaged him and asked to get a copy of the video showing how he did everything. His had copyrighted music, and I wanted to not get a strike against my channel. So he responded very quickly and gave me a copy in the way that I asked. So I would say that he certainly was responsive, seeing he had to go back into his editing software and take out the stuff and make it the way that I asked him. So why didn't they contact him? Well, I can see in the moment putting a weather event on the air if it's a current storm happening, that helps people know how severe it is outside. But then I was reading an article about it, and they brought in a weather expert, and he was talking about all these things that it could possibly be. You would think if they decided to bring in an expert that they would have at least tried to get an eyewitness account of what happened. But no, they had this guy on talking about how he actually believed it, and it could be possible. It's probably not Photoshop either. Everything kind of fits, and it seems right. Which, to me, is very telling. They're more interested in the stories that attract viewers opposed to what is actually fact. At least the person in charge of the story, that is. You see, one person brings in the story, and then it gets sent down the line, I was a video editor, and it was my job to put on the air what the writers told me to. Which brings me to my next story. When I was a video editor for the news, I would come across stories that I didn't think were entirely accurate. In this case, it was a video of an eagle coming down and picking up a baby. I had to send it to the air because it was in the script. Even though looking at it, I was highly skeptical that it was real. But of course, companies are designed to designate certain tasks to different people. My job as a video editor was to simply put together what they told me. The facts were someone else's job. The script said, don't worry, the baby is just fine. The next day, turns out, surprise, surprise, the video was a fake done by some college students for a class project.
Did it surprise you that everybody thought it was real?
Well, I mean, that was the point of the project. It was had to integrate computer-generated images into real footage.
So if it was fake, why the fuck would they have said that the baby was fine? I mean, yeah, you could say it was fine seeing the baby didn't actually get picked up and it was just in the video when they went to check on him. And you wonder why more and more people don't trust the news. At least with the web, you have a comment section, and if it's bullshit, someone is posting that shit all over the comments. It's unfortunate more people just don't see how ridiculous the news is. They have it on in the background where they're doing their hair, getting ready to go to their super duper important job of giving people coffee. But if they're not watching, then what's the problem? Well, they do hear information, even if they're passively watching. Information spreads like a virus, and one idiot hears one thing on the news, and they run to their friends and say, the news said this, and then that information will spread to another idiot. So if it starts off with 100,000 people hearing misinformation, and it goes all over the place, well, it's gonna fucking spread a shitload. I know these little stories aren't exactly life-changing events, but what about stories about someone being accused of rape? Their name is up all over the news, and it ruins their lives, even if they're found not guilty. I found while working there that people are sociopathic, completely devoid of empathy for the stories they talk about. I mean, it's bound to happen. I've had to edit footage of a guy pouring gasoline on a woman and lighting her on fire. You see some very disturbing shit in the business day after day. A reporter made a comment to me one day about how this guy on trial did this horrible crime. She was very certain he was guilty, but hadn't been convicted yet. If the reporter is certain in their mind that he's guilty, then they'll word it in a way that implies guilt. And that gets better ratings because the voyeuristic country can watch behind their screen and pass judgment on these supposed bad people. Now, I know I'm not going to change the news business with this video, but my hope is that I can help make people more aware of how these things happen. I think it's important for people to know what I've experienced being on the inside of the business. So if you have any questions about the news business, feel free to ask in the comments. As you know, if you like this video, you're encouraged to subscribe for more content. If I get enough questions, I may do a follow-up video answering them for you guys.